Hello, everyone. I'm super excited to meet all of you today. I'm Afozy, and the talk that I have here today is on how data science can superpower your customer experience. So, wherever you're logging in from, happy Friday, everyone. And today's talk is going to focus on the whole idea of customer experience. And let's start with understanding why customer experience is a big deal. So, if you look at the industry, improving the customer experience is a top priority for CXOs for digital transformation. And that's something that we have seen in all our lives, right? That a bad experience with a company really puts you off, and you don't want to transact with that company. And increasingly, as consumers have more and more choices, it's not like 20 years ago where you had one mobile service and you didn't have so many options, and then you have this huge switching cost if you cancel your contract. Things have changed. Customers have a lot of options right now, and that's why they want the best experience, and they want the best products, the best services, the best experience out there. And that benchmark has been set by the likes of the companies like Google, Facebook. uh, they have this very seamless customer experiences when you go and purchase something on Amazon. It is in 2 clicks. You've started, you've selected your product, you have completed the purchase, and you're out. So, with these two things happening, customer experience improvement is the key priority for CXOs. In fact, the numbers that you see here, there was a survey that was conducted by KPMG where customer experience, improving the customer experience, was the top priority for 46% of the CXOs. And coming up close next was creating a very customer centric e commerce experience. That was a top priority for CXOs. So it is important, well, both from the customer perspective, we want, there's so much going on, things are moving so fast, we want the best experience out there. And also from the company's perspective, where having a greater customer experience is what will get them to revenue and conversion. So, we understand customer experience is important. Now, let's look at what is it that customers want. So, it really boils down to what do customers want, given that now that they have so many choices to switch or move. And customers really now expect seamless, hassle free, and contextual experiences. So, they don't want to be in long lines. They don't want, when they come online, they don't want to click through many screens, make many clicks, move through many pages. They want things to be quick, fast, seamless, easy. The second thing that they are looking for is hassle free, which is I don't want a lot of kind of options. And then, I want things to be contextual. Like if I am here to pay my bill, don't show me 1,000 offers and waste my time. I want to just go pay my bill. But then when I am researching on purchasing a new phone, then I want to see my offers because that's what will make me convert better. So that's the kind of challenge for companies, that there is there are so many nuances. Companies have to take care of so many nuances in kind of helping make that end-to-end seamless customer experience. So these are what the customers expect, and a lot needs to work together to make it happen. For example, when we are saying seamless customer experience, what we are looking for is to simplify your customer experience and make it as simple as possible. So for example, when I am going to purchase a phone on the website, I go to the AT&T website or any website, I have, there are so many options. When I have to purchase a phone, I have to choose the color, the configuration, I have to choose the phone itself. And after that, I have to choose insurance. They ask me if I want to buy accessories, and then they want me to pick up my plan. And then there is this whole authentication kind of experience. So it's a challenge. You do need, companies do need all those steps to be there for them to complete the whole checkout process. But the customers want that to be simplified. So they don't want multiple pages, multiple clicks, multiple screens that they have to go through. So that's the first thing, right? You need to bring in a very simplified user experience in front of your customers. The second thing is they want the experience to be hassle free. And what it really means is for companies, they need to reduce the decision fatigue that the customers are facing when they come on online. And again, I'm talking about online experiences because it's much easier for us to tie the data and then give the answers online. But even in the offline experience, customers don't want so many options to choose from. Like, for example, if you're a company which is, let's keep the same example of phones. I have like 1,000 SKUs, but if I bring in all 1,000 of them in front of you, then you're going to just get lost. Or just let's look at Netflix. The key kind of route for them, the key kind of secret sauce for them is they know what the customers want and they can help reduce the decision fatigue. So the hassle free is the second thing. And the third thing is making it contextual. So I'm here for transaction X. Don't make me do other Y. Or if I'm not happy with my plan because I'm paying too much, but I'm not using it as much, for example, you know, that can cause things like churn. So your the entire interaction between the customer and the company needs to be contextual to make it a beautiful experience for the customer. And here is where companies need to know their customers and predict what the customer wants for them to build these seamless experiences. So now that we know, this is all that needs to happen, and it kind of is hard. So how do you get to here? And data is your superpower. Data is what will help you stitch everything together and build out that seamless, hassle-free, contextual experience that your customers want. Yes, it's kind of a lot. We're asking data, to do a lot to bring in that seamless customer experience. And you might wonder, how do I use my data? Do I really have the data? Because when we get into conversations, many of our clients say, hey, I just don't have the data that is needed, or I don't have the insights that are needed to help my customers, or to help kind of simplify the user experience. So the reality is companies do collect a ton of data. The challenge is that many times they do not realize that they are collecting all of this data and what insights can be gotten from this data. The other problem with companies is that all of this data is in silos. So you need to stitch together one view of a customer to be able to get that holistic idea of where the customers are, what have they been doing, what are their needs and wants. So that's a challenge. I think we will talk about challenges. Perhaps there are a ton of challenges out there. There's a whole industry that works on stitching all the customer data together. But for the purposes of this talk, let's talk about what is the data that companies can use to help simplify their customer experience. And let's start with the key things. So information on what do the customers do online. So data from Adobe Analytics, Google Analytics, Tea Leaf. There are a ton of options right there that collect the clickstream data to understand what the customer has been doing and what their kind of paths or journeys have been on the online portals or on apps. So that's the first set of data that gets collected. Then companies, and they do collect purchase or transaction data, which is usually hidden in those big boxes, the data warehouses and the CRM systems. So that's the second set of data that companies collect on what are our customers doing? What is my past history with my customer? There is this third set of data, which is, have my customers faced any problems before in the past? And that data is locked in those ticketing systems like Jira, Zendesk, again, a ton of them out there, where companies are collecting the data on the past service transactions with their customers, the past tickets, problems, and that gives a ton of insight, both from B2B perspective and from a B2C perspective, on what are the problems that your customers have faced in the past. And that is super useful information for you to understand how you can design your customer experiences better. And the fourth kind of key data is your feedback about your company. And right now, a lot of companies explicitly collect this data. There are feedback collection softwares like Medallia, ClaraBridge, where they bring this pop-up out there and ask how your experience has been. So that is another super useful way. And of course, feedback can become irritating, because if you're asked a lot of questions, customers might not like it. But if it is hidden neatly, or it's cleverly put up in places where it can come up, that is very powerful feedback data to help improve your customer experience. So now you see there is a ton of data out there. It's in different systems. The companies might not be able to understand or stitch it together, or they are working very hard to stitch it together to get to the insights. But all of this data can give you a really holistic view of what your customers are doing and what are their needs and wants. So from here, let's discuss how we can use this data to really help understand the whole customer journey and help simplify the whole customer experience. So we talked about three key problems. We talked about simplifying the user experience as the key one. The second one is around reducing decision fatigue. And the third one, which is to make your experiences contextual. You predict what your customers want. So starting with the first one, which is simplifying your user experience, right? So you want your journeys to be simple, hassle, and easy for customers to go through. So the first key thing there is look at analyzing drop-offs in the customer journey. So build out your customer journeys, analyze what are the drop-offs at various stages in the customer journey. And wherever there's a high drop-off, it gives you a sense of where the friction is, where the pain point is. So analyze that and identify, are these pages having too many options? Is the customer getting confused on this particular page? Or is the information that the customer is looking for not there on this page, which is why they're dropping off and they're looking for information elsewhere? So there can be a ton of reasons for high drop-offs, and drop-offs are really like the first symptom of what the problem is. So this drop-off information you get from your customer analytics, from your Adobe, Google Analytics data. And how do you solve them? So you kind of look at the drop-offs, understand what are the root cause of the drop-offs, and then you redesign your user experience and your technology to be able to solve for that friction. So UX enhancements are the obvious thing, right? You can change your UX, make it simpler. The technology enhancements are really about making the whole experience faster. Sometimes it's high page load times, a lot of underlying technology issues, which might be cause of the friction. The second area is around then collecting all the data that you have from your CRM, from your transaction systems, and then segment your customers to be able to understand what their needs and wants are. And that in one word is personalization, which is really the biggest buzzword out there right now in the analytics industry. But being able to identify your segments of customers, their needs and wants. And I'm giving you an example. For a telco company, there could be segments of customers like gamers, or there could be segments of customers like music enthusiasts. and you have these ton of products that you can kind of bring up or showcase for these customers to get to that customer delight that you're looking for. So kind of developing your processes, journeys, and your content which is specific to a segment will help avoid that information overload, reduce the decision fatigue, and also delight your customers. The third key bucket is around predicting what your customers want. And that's where the whole AI, ML comes into play, where you can use machine learning and AI to learn what has happened in the past and predict the future. And a very pertinent example there is predicting customer churn. If I know these customers are going to leave, and then I reach out to them and give offers. Now, what's really critical here is, I have a certain amount of money budget. I cannot give out that money and spend it on all my customers. But if I'm able to predict from a company's perspective which ones are leaving and give them the offers, then I'm able to get better ROI on my spend. So the key kind of solution there is you embed intelligence across the customer journey and be able to predict. So, and there are like many use cases that can happen across the end-to-end customer journey. So predict what the customers want and then be able to provide that. So that's like, these are really the three ways in which you can leverage data to superpower your customer experience, and then hopefully it's going to lead you to happy customers and business results, because happy customers are really important for you to get to your business results. So lead to growth in your conversion, in your NPS, in the engagement, in overall retention, and reduce your cost of sales, the cost of customer acquisition, the cost of customer retention, all of it. So I've kind of talked about the whole pieces, the types of data, how we can look at these various pieces of data and put it together. My last slide here is really talking about how it works behind the scenes. And I know this is very busy, there's a lot of stuff out here, but I'll kind of simplify it. There are three key layers to it. The first layer is really your data layer, where getting your data in place, bringing it all together. And if you remember a couple of slides before this, I showed you there are various data sources out there. So bringing it all together in one place, and again, it's a really hard problem to solve because of many reasons, but then kind of starting to bring that together is really the first foundation to getting things ready for your customer, for a good customer experience. The second component of it is really bringing in that whole aspects of analysis, machine learning, algorithms, all of it, to understand, make sense of this data, and then get to the insights that are needed. So here I had talked about those three key things. I talked about your journey analysis, analysis of drop-offs, customer segmentation to understand what are the segments of customers, and the third one is around prediction to predict and look at next best action. So that's your second layer where you build out your algorithms, your insights, your dashboards. And there's a fourth component to it, which is A/B testing, which is super important in consumer contexts, where you test out things before you make them go live. And the third layer is really the orchestration, where you use these insights and then inject it into various parts of the customer journey. And for truly omni-channel purposes, I put the store here too. So a lot of your data can go directly to improve the customer experience on the website, on the kind of email campaigns you reach out to them with, the ads they see, and in store. So this is a compact version, a very simplified version of how it works behind the scenes, but hopefully it gives you a sense of it. And with this, I'm nearing the end of time. And this is my last slide. So I'd like to thank you for being a patient audience. I love talking to you, and you can reach out to me on LinkedIn if you have any questions, if you want to know more about this topic. Thank you, everyone, and have a great weekend. So I will stop sharing my screen now, and I will let the moderator take over. Thank you, everyone.